This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
I'm Roby Brock. It's Tuesday, September 27th. Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. Here are your top stories of the day. 87 of the state's 135 legislators, or roughly 64%, have announced their opposition to issue number 5, which would create a constitutional amendment authorizing its sponsors to open 3 casinos in Arkansas. The total was announced by opposition group Protect Arkansas Values, Stop Casinos Now. Also opposing the amendment are Governor Asa Hutchinson, former Arkansas Governor Mike Beebe, and the Arkansas State Chamber of Commerce. A spokesman for Arkansas Wins in 2016, the group sponsoring the amendment, said the focus of the campaign is on securing support for Issue 5 from Arkansas voters, more than 100,000 of whom signed petitions to place the issue on the ballot. The Arkansas State University system has 24,013 students, an all-time record according to the school. It's a 4% increase from the 23,101 who were enrolled in the system in 2015. ASU officials are pleased with the increase despite an improving economy, which often leads to a reduction in university enrollment. Tyson Foods says it's voluntarily recalling more than 132,000 pounds of chicken nuggets after receiving reports that, quote, hard white plastic was found in some nuggets. The nuggets were sold at Costco stores nationwide and to a single wholesaler in Pennsylvania. And those are your top stories of the day. You can read more on these stories and much more at our website, talkbusiness.net. Still to come, new polling numbers from our latest Talk Business and Politics Hendrix College poll, extending county terms from 2 to 4 years, and a medical tort reform measure. How do voters feel about these 2 ballot proposals? We'll find out right after this.
First Security is here. Only here. So that means we're here, here, and here. Even here. And definitely here. Because here is where we want to be for you. First Security Bank, only in Arkansas.
At Deltic Timber Corporation, we believe in the responsible creation of communities, in the development of neighborhoods that bring convenience and comfort to life, while respecting the beauty and delicacy of nature. Like the harmonious balance of environment and expansion found in the thriving communities of Chenal Valley and Chenal Downs in Little Rock and Red Oak Ridge in Hot Springs. Because the best communities in the natural state are the ones that help keep it that way.
As we've been doing for several days, we're rolling out our latest poll numbers from Talk Business and Politics and Hendrix College. 2 new poll question results today: extending county officials' terms from 2 to 4 years and medical tort reform. How do voters feel? Let's go with issue number 1 first. Do you support extending county elected officials' terms from 2 years to 4 years? 29% say they are in favor of the proposal, while 42.5% say they are opposed. 28.5% don't know. On issue number 4, which is a constitutional amendment to limit attorney contingency fees and non-economic damages in medical lawsuits, 27% are in favor of the proposal. Now, 24% are against the proposal, and that leaves a whopping 49% who are undecided on the issue, which has really not garnered a whole lot of attention just yet. So, there you have it. Strong feelings on one issue, not so strong feelings, undecided opinions on another. Time to take another commercial break. We're going to get presidential debate reaction from Rex Nelson and Skip Rutherford, and later Dr. Jay Barth of Hendrix College with his thoughts on why Republican Party identification is on the rise in our latest poll. We're back after this.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did. As Arkansas's population grows, so do our energy demands. But with the right mix of resources, reliable, affordable power will always be a reality. These resources are all around us in our rivers, blowing through our trees, even right below our feet. The answer isn't focusing on one resource, it's embracing them all. The electric cooperatives of Arkansas know that a balanced approach to power builds our communities and powers our dreams. Visit themixmatters.com and see why there's power in knowledge.
The great debate, Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, was held on Monday night. It was one for the ages. We asked political animals Skip Rutherford and Rex Nelson for their takeaways from the big stage.
I think it was the same both listening on the radio and watching on television after I got back from a speaking engagement in Hot Springs. And that is, it was certainly unlike any presidential debate I've ever seen in my life, and I've been watching them since I was a kid.
Well, I thought the bar for Hillary was set very high, and she exceeded it. And I thought the bar for Trump was set low, and he met it. So I think he did what he had to do with his base, which was be the change agent. And for the first 15, 20 minutes of the debate, I thought he held his own pretty good. After that, Hillary took complete charge. It was a big win for her. She changed the narrative from the issue of health to the issue of preparedness and professionalism. She looked like a president last night. She acted like a president. You got to walk out of that debate watching and just think, wow, she really hit it out of the park.
Obviously, Secretary Clinton had prepared very well. She prepared for what she probably knew would not be a traditional debate, but she tried to go about it in a traditional way. And Trump was Trump. I thought he showed, when I was listening, maybe a little bit of discipline in the last 30 minutes, then it all went out the door in the next hour of the 90-minute debate then. And I can't imagine that Trump helped himself with anybody who hasn't made up their mind. Only the red meat hardcore would have liked that performance.
I think it was a narrative shifter. I think for the next 10 days to the next debate, people are going to be talking about how presidential she looked and how sort of flustered he looked and angry and unprepared. I think the unprepared issue was the real issue with him. So I don't know how it's going to show up in the polls, but I think this thing, number one, it gives her momentum. It gives her messaging. It takes the conversation for 10 days, instead of being about her health, it goes into how prepared she was and how unprepared Trump was. It also does something else. It probably reinforces her base. The numbers have, and when you look at this race, you get down to it, and I'm teaching this course called Follow the Numbers at the Clinton School. I'm teaching it, and what you're seeing is that she has not solidified her base yet with African American voters, with Hispanic voters, and particularly with millennial voters. She's carrying them, but not by the numbers that she needs to. That debate last night may have gone a long way in doing that. We'll have to see.
I think the tracking is going to be interesting to see as we watch nightly tracking take place over the next 10 days. The race obviously had tightened over a period of weeks. Now it'll be interesting to see, coming off what I can only describe as a bizarre performance by Trump, if those numbers spread back out a little bit from, 2 points, kind of where the average is now, pro-Clinton, maybe back up to 4 or 5, even 6 points.
That's Rex Nelson and Skip Rutherford. It's great stuff there. After this word from our sponsors, we crawl into one of the most interesting findings in our latest Talk Business and Politics Hendrix College poll. Dr. Jay Barth explains when we come back.
Circuits turn on the lights by making a connection, by closing the loop. At Entergy, we believe our economy is circular too. What you put in comes back. So we invest billions in new infrastructure, which helps attract new industry, which helps create new jobs. We partner with local communities to electrify the economy, and together we power life. Entergy.
You've likely heard of the Great Arkansas Treasure Hunt. In fact, you or your business may have property to claim in the hunt. But where does this treasure come from? Businesses like yours. The law calls it unclaimed property. If your business is holding money on its books that you've not been able to return to the owner, it's most likely unclaimed property, and the law requires it to be sent to the state auditor's office each year. Auditor Andrea Lea's office can make the process for businesses to comply with the law easy and straightforward. Help us help you return Arkansans' unclaimed property at auditor.ar.gov.
One of the most interesting findings from our latest Talk Business and Politics Hendrix College survey focused on the number of respondents who identified as Democrat, Republican, and Independent. In case you missed it, 32% identified themselves as Democrat, 43% Republican, 20% Independent, and 5% said they are of another political affiliation. I asked Dr. Jay Barth, professor of political science at Hendrix College, for his take on this result. And I want to start with the number on party ID because I think this is a monumental shift if it indeed holds up over time. 43% of people identified as Republicans, and all of that movement came from independents by and large from what we've seen traditionally. So after 3 election cycles and 6 years, are we pretty close to saying that independent voters who've been voting Republican 3-1, 4-1, are they Republicans now?
Yeah, well, I think what we've seen over our previous elections is that we had a lot of folks who were independents, but then when you followed up and asked which party do you lean towards, they actually were leaning Republican. And we have a lot of evidence that if somebody leans towards a party, they're pretty much with that party.
Well, and when they were asked for selection of certain candidates too, we would see them by some
independents,
huge
overwhelmingly
margins,
Republican. Yeah. And so the big question is, have they crossed that Rubicon and moved to the Republican Party? You know, I think we need to be careful about, you know, over assuming on one poll, but I think it's certainly something we want to watch. It is a big step. It's an important step if it happens, and it really, I think we know that the Democrats have had some real challenges in this state. That only raises that wall against a Democratic comeback a little bit more.
Why would it be such a big wall for Democrats there? Because they would have trouble recruiting candidates because they wouldn't be competitive in certain races anymore. I mean, give a little more color on that.
Yeah, well, I think that if you have a party that really, at its foundation and the base of any electoral system, of course, are the voters. If the voters simply are kind of locked in with a party identification, with a psychological attachment to a political party that basically says, unless I've got the best reason in the world, I'm gonna support my party. If it's nearing a majority, that makes it really difficult to really have folks justify running for office. Even if they can win, going to the legislature and being in the minority week in, week out, it starts to kind of create a really challenging environment for a political party. Now, I think we need to be careful. We don't know that we're there yet, but I think that this is very worrisome and something I think we need to keep our eye on. One thing that we do in our polling is we do not wait on political party.
Right.
We only wait on demographics because we know that demographics, we can look at past election results and say, this is how many African Americans, this is how many men and women were part of an election environment. We can wait on those with confidence. We've never waited on party, and that's why we've been able to see these shifts in partisanship across our 6+ years of polling.
That's Dr. Jay Barth of Hendrix College, and there's much more to his analysis and many more survey results on our website at talkbusiness.net. That is all for today's edition of Talk Business and Politics. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.